Hello and welcome to our planning sprints for tonight. So I tried to hook up like an extra camera, but right now my phone's almost dead, so I can't really use a buddy cam. So this is what we got for today, just my hands and what we're working on. But I wanted to talk a bit about what I'm reading right now. And then I'll chat about a little bit about what I'm trying to do with the journal. And then we'll just have some time to chill. And I'll be working on my journal, read, have fun, work on a project that you're working on. Let me know in the comments what you're up to. And I'll try to take a couple of breaks as I'm working. And chat with everybody. So this is what I'm currently reading, and I'm surprised that I've never heard anybody talk about this book before. It's Manga in Theory and Practice: The Craft of Creating Manga. It's by Hirohiko Araki, who's the author of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. It's a fairly popular manga, and he goes through and illustrates with his own examples from his own comics about the way that he goes about constructing his stories and making it to where they're fit for publication. How did he get a publisher to initially look at his work? So it's really like focused advice on getting published in Shonen Jump, primarily, or as a manga artist. But it's a really interesting look at the industry in Japan, which is far different than the comic book industry. Something I'm going to talk about in one of my upcoming videos. The major differences between American publishing and Japanese publishing. Hey Scorpio, finishing a graphic novel and working on your journal. Very cool. Which graphic novel are you taking a look at today? So yeah, I was surprised to see that no one talks about this, considering how many content creators I watch who do critique of manga or talk about manga reviews. This would at least be a good starting point in seeing how Japanese manga creators view themselves. So I'm now about halfway through the book. I'm getting into, right now he's talking about plot, and he feels like plot is probably the least important thing for your story. Like, it's still a very important bit, but when compared to character or setting, he doesn't hold it as high esteem. No, Batman. Okay, I'm not familiar with that one, but I'm sure my wife would know. A Batman graphic novel. So here he's talking about, like, characters have to always be progressing. You can't write one where the character, like, goes down. And this is, I think, less true of Western media, but when you're talking about the Japanese manga industry, it's serialized. Everything's serialized. Everything is week after week. You have to put a new story out, and you have to be progressing that story. And so I could definitely see readers like losing readership if you do something like this. If your character has a major setback and dips down like this. But he talks about this in other pieces of media and how it didn't work for him. So yeah, just a very interesting book, and one I wanted to highlight because, again, I'm surprised not more people don't talk about this. But we're not here to talk about books today, surprisingly. Well, tangentially anyway. I'm not here to talk about books. I'm here to work on my reading journal. So I have to be careful because there's some things in here that I don't... names and things that I don't want to show on screen. But this is my reading journal. You can tell these first couple of pages are a little rough. I learned some important pieces of some important lessons here, like certain pens not to use because they bleed through really bad. Have still not done my table of contents, and then I've got my like focus for the year, which is calm. You can see I've made a lot of good progress on my genre tracker. I'm reading a lot of fantasy, reading a surprising amount of romance as well, and horror got a big boost. This is science fiction. Horror got a big boost with Summerween recently, and then science fiction's another one that I have a lot of books under that genre, almost as much as fantasy at this point. And this is my daily reading tracker of what I like, what kind of things am I reading. These are all things I've shown before. Here is my bookshelf for the year. So far, I think each of these is 50, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. So each of these is 60. So that's 120, 130. I've recorded 130 of my reads. I think I'm a little bit ahead of this. I think I need to add some down in here. And then I've been recording how many books have I been reading a month? What is the best book I read that month? I really like this setup. This was stolen wholesale. But this was stolen wholesale from another creator, but I really like this layout, and kind of looking back at each month as like a snapshot. How much did I get read that month? What was the best thing I read? Not a fan of romance, prefer thrillers and mysteries. Yeah, I think generally romance is not a genre that I go out of my way to find. But I find a lot of the YA romantasy that I get from things like Fairy Loot tend to push more toward the romance side than what I would call like fantasy or sci-fi side. Also, I have several series that I would classify primarily as romance. So it just tends to happen that I get a lot of romance books throughout the year. Here are my, speaking of Fairy Loot, here's my Fairy Loot page. This has been a really useful one, a really like helpful one to have this year, because it's allowed me to kind of let go of the idea that everything has to be perfect. So I've been doing mock-ups of the interior covers for each of the books that I've gotten this year. I've got 3 more that I need to put in here. I need to read first, and then every rating. So far, as you can see, they're mostly 3 stars. Castles Crumbling, which one was this? This was Air. Air got 4 stars. I liked Air. And then there was another one I liked quite a bit. Unholy Alliance. Is that the one? I can't remember if it was this one. Oh, Darker by 4. Darker by 4 also got 4 stars. That was another one I really liked. And is probably going to feature on video here fairly soon. I have my 25 for 2025. There's 2 more things to add here. Because there's one more thing. One more? Did I read 2 things? I don't have a check mark next to Bone Orchard, but I know I read that one. Witch's Guide to Magical Innkeeping, and then I read Ami. I don't have a check mark there. I read You Look Better as a Ghost. Need to put some check marks down here, but yeah, I don't think there is another one. But I did read Witch's Guide to Magical Innkeeping this last week. So here is my ratings for this year. So every square is a different color. How do you make the gridding? How do I make the gridding for the numbers? So a lot of, it says grinding for my numbers. If you're talking about the gridding, so this was, my wife looked at a thing, and we have what we call junk journals. So it's just a like cheaper bullet journal that we can go and mess around with and try to figure out what the best choice is. So here, so hard to tell like how to tilt this and how to move it. Here you can see we just had, there's another one. Yeah, there's another creator that was doing something similar. Again, I steal most of my ideas from other people. And my wife actually went through and did the numbers for 2025 and figured out like how many dots you can pull. Oh, thank you. Yeah. So here's her junk journal as she was going through and just like messing with it and seeing what looks best. So we can see a different type of zero here. This one has a wider thing, but you just get one of these like flimsy moleskin journals and you can mess around with them and figure out what works best with you without messing up your actual journal and doing all the, doing the eraser lines and things. So yeah, here's some different 5s, and then you can decide, well, what looks best, and then put it in your actual journal. So yeah, so this is a scale of like 1 to 5 different colors for each one. You can see it's been a pretty good year. My wife and I have talked about this before, where we're pretty comfortable knowing what we like as far as books go, and so I tend to rate fairly high. This next one is the 10 new series I wanted to check out in 2025. I've looked at 3 so far. Really need to get on to this particular challenge because there's a lot of these that I have not even acquired or looked at yet. But I like, it took me a long time to decide on how I was going to design this one. I like the way that it turned out. Same is true for my series tracker. I put some series in here that I'm already finished with just because there was so much space left over. So like I put Emily Wilde, even though I'm finished with that one, Mistborn Era 1 and 2, Skyward, The Reckoners, all these Sanderson books over here that I've finished up. And then, yeah, I'm just tracking different series. I want to look at The Expanse at some point. I have the first Witcher book, so I put those in here. And these ones are angled a little bit to give that kind of design. So I just went a dot here, then down 1 and over 1 to give that slant, and then tried my best to just divide it out for each of the titles. And I tried to match colors with this character down here. The sticker was one of the first things I placed down, so tried to match colors with that. I've got my book recs, which I thought would have more at this point. But it's just books that have been recommended to me by other people. Have I picked them up? Have I read them? What did I think? The only one so far that I have gone and picked up and read was The Dark Room, which was a graphic novel. So there's some others here that I should probably take a look at some point. This page is just a big manga celebration page. Just cool manga stuff. No real rhyme or reason. It's just a fun, like, throw stickers on it page. And then that starts up the monthly calendars, which is what I'm going to work on today. We have July's to more or less finish up. I haven't recorded anything since the 22nd. So generally what I do is I fill out the week for what I read using Goodreads, and then I go back and I add them to the shelves back here. Add them to the shelves. They're color coded, what kind of books they are. I add it to the genre tracker. I try to do my daily reading tracker. And then if they're a part of Fairy Loot or of my 25 or 2025, I fill that in last. Oh, thank you. Yes, this year I've been trying a lot harder to keep up with the reading journal and make sure that I keep track of my reads really carefully. And then we've got to make August spread. So we have to decide, I've got a bunch of stickers in the back, and I've got to decide what kind of vibe am I going to go for. Maybe I'll use this witch as kind of my like starting point. But yeah, that's my plan for today. I'm going to put on some chill music. I'm not going to set a timer for this one. We usually do for reading sprints. We do a certain amount of time. But I'm just going to let this go and get some work done. Feel free to grab a book if you're work on your journal. Let me know in the comments. Let me know in the comments how it's going, and we'll pause occasionally and just talk about how's it progressing, how are we doing. But I don't want to set a timer because I don't want to be partway through something and have to stop all of a sudden. So we'll go ahead and switch over to the music, and we'll come back together in a little bit. Alrighty. That was some amount of time. Apologies for those doing like reading sprints. What's up? Okay. So a couple of things. The first is made several mistakes in writing up my journal. So the first is I already had a book here for my manga, and I put it again here. So I used my white pen to try to cover that over, and then just put a sticker on it. I'm trying to embrace, the idea of it's good enough. It's okay. Doesn't have to be perfect. But yeah, just throw a sticker over it. No one will notice. It'll be fine. And then also, when going through my book entries, I realized that this was not lining up with my Goodreads, because this was only at 133 and my Goodreads says I read 136. So I quickly found the problem was that I had reread the Bone Orchard Mythos and hadn't put any of those books in here, which means I hadn't recorded them on this chart either. And then I checked the numbers on this chart and they were way off, and I've been good about every time I return to my journal I double check the numbers on everything, so I knew it had to be something recent. So I was looking back at, you can see I don't have very many 2-star reads, so I was looking at what was this 2-star read, because it had to have been something that I was reading during Summerween. So I went back and found it, and I started extrapolating out, okay, what did I miss, and then putting those down here. So now it matches up, and I'm pretty confident that everything's okay. But I'm setting a very bad example, because if you're going to do a reading journal, you really should keep up with it better than I do. It's been about a week since I've gone in and done edits to it. Fixed up the check marks here that I hadn't added, and then put in Witch's Guide to Magical Innkeeping was my 16th book, and my 25 for 2025, so less than 10 to go. I do have Bear Pirate Viking Queen on order from my local comic book store, and then there's a few of these that I don't think have been released yet. I don't think Catabasis is out. Brigands and Bread Knives I know isn't. I cannot for the life of me find Authority Essays. I'm going to have to order that one. And then I don't think Girl in the Creek's out. So I'm doing pretty good. 2 more comics. This comic isn't out either, Hyde Street. So I can get my last comic in. I've got 2 more that have been sitting on my shelf that I need to read. Maybe I'll bring Murder Your Employer on the first week of school. That'll be a fun one to read while we're doing PD. So yeah, so I feel like I'm doing pretty good on this challenge, doing terribly on this challenge. I have not looked up so many of these books. There's a really nice Dark Tower collection. It's just why not go ahead and just buy the whole thing? I want to read it, so but I wanted to pause, not to fixate on all my mistakes, but to talk about my spreads for the months. So you can see that I alternate going to the left side on one month and then on the right side on the other month. So this is this is the right side on this month and the left side on this month. I just shifted over a little bit. I put my highlights over here, which is all the stuff we did that month. So this month we did Summerween. SGDQ was this month. We went to the Unico signing. We went to a Pokemon trivia thing. We went to Cidercade, which was a lot of fun. Yeah, there'll be some other things on here. And then, so this month is one that's going to be shifted to the right. So I had to just find my key points. I made a mistake here too, but thankfully I made it in pencil. I know none of this is showing up on camera. So if you zoom in here, you can see that I was supposed to leave a gap in that middle section. But I was looking through, I had to dig through all my stickers, because that's primarily how I decorate, is through stickers. and I was digging through all my stickers to find something that I could do for like a theme for this month. And I didn't have enough for that Dark Witch theme. I don't know where I'm going to put that. But I pulled some stuff that I feel is like summery vibes and like food vibes. So I felt like all of these kind of went together. So we've got, this is going to be kind of like my cornerstone thing. I think I'll put it over here if I can. Might have to cut it down a little bit to reach that edge. And it's really going to depend on, I need to put in the days and see how far in this last week do I need to cover. But then yeah, I've got her. Very sparkly. And then this I felt worked really well with the same kind of colors, the same kind of vibe. And I also had some more boba stuff. And then just like, you know, snacks, different things that I feel match up fairly well. Some juice here. This character, probably not. I thought maybe it was the same colors, but it's not hitting the same vibe. So I'll have to figure out how I'm going to arrange these. But first I need to put in the dates and see how it's going to work out. I don't want to cover the numbers, and I don't want to cut off her hair, but I might cut off the end of this and then decide I really want this one on here as well. So just have to play around with like where are they going to fit, and is there a place where they're not going to, you know, not going to cover too much. It's okay to cover a little bit, but you don't want it to like overtake it. So yeah, that's kind of the vibe I'm going to go with for this one. Kind of like summer treats, that kind of idea. And I don't know, like the last couple of months I've been playing around with the borders as well. So you can see like this last month in July I had this sleepy little guy here surrounded by the rocks. So I put in rocks around the border, which I think came out really cool. The month prior I have these characters down here, and I made June their thought bubbles coming up from them. So I had that like border quality. In May I did like a dark theme. I went back and did this later, but because I had so many of these dark stickers, I went back and made everything that wasn't a book black. And then on this one we've got the cassette tape on the side. So again, I've been experimenting more with like doing fun stuff with the borders. Not sure what I'm going to do here. It might just be straight up borders and see how she can fit in here, that she's not too obtrusive. So yeah, so that's what I'm going to work on next, and we shall see how that goes. So yeah, looking back through, missed a whole lot of Summerween stuff, which doesn't really surprise me, because that was kind of a crazy week of reading. So I'm working on a couple of videos to put up on the channel this week. First in a new series, I'm trying to start a series of like comp titles. It's like if you like this book or you like this thing, you might like these books. Because I read quite a bit, and I feel like that's a good skill I have. I don't know if that's really a skill, but I'm frequently talking to coworkers about, you know, you like such and such a book, maybe you should check out this one. But yeah, give it a few more minutes before we get back to the music. I'm just filling in the days of the week here. And I should look up what this month looks like. Figure out when it's gonna, how much of that last row am I gonna use. Okay, so that's the first, and then the last day, 31st is a Sunday. Oh, that might be good. That might not be good. We'll see. Let's see. It's literally the entire thing. So we are not going to be able to have her down here because she would block like literally the whole thing. So she'll have to go here. Which might work out better anyway. She will block the date on that one if I put her there. I could rotate her a little bit. But if I want this character to be in this mock-up, I'm gonna have to do something. I could have her like behind here. We could do something with that. I did that with another one as well, with an alien character from the last one, and then I could maybe work that into some sort of thing behind her. We will figure it out. Alrighty. I think we'll go back to the music and I'll get working on getting this set up. Because yeah, I think my best option is going to be cut this, make this a foreground something, and go from there. Alrighty. Alright, I'll be back in a bit while I work on this. And then I want to think too, because I've got some pages here. After all my months, I had all these pages that I was going to do, like maybe reviews, or like have something for a certain, a certain book or a certain thing I was interested in. We did March Madness, where my wife and I swapped TBRs, so I have a page for that. I can put some more stickers on here. This is kind of basic, but I was thinking about going through here and like deciding what would be some good stuff to highlight from this year. All right, putting the music back on. I'll be back later. Excuse me. All right, coming back in to talk about some of my stuff, my thought process here. So, yeah, we had to cut a couple of the things because they're just a little too big. So I was thinking about like what could I do with this one, and I decided that this would be. I noticed the backpack here with the star, and I decided this would be like her journal. And so it's got the bindings in the middle here. It's pink, and it's got like a fuzzy cover, so that's what's coming out here along the sides. And then just for fun and to add some more decoration, I just put in these like different patterns down here that I thought were amusing. Try to like pull it in together. And again, she's got that star on her backpack, so just having like some simple patterns I thought would be cute and would work. Put in the one up here, had to cut it down because the white was not doing me any favors, but since this beginning part is freed up for lots of like different designs, I thought that would be a fun way to do that. And then put the puffy crisps over here, so it's like a back to school summer treats kind of thing. And just have to keep in mind that barring if you have a YouTube channel, your journals are for you, right? So you can make them whatever you want as long as you're happy with it. And I thought this came out pretty cute, and I'm happy with it. So once I get my lines all down, then I like to do get the basic outline in and then add more detail. I freehand the numbers and the squares in the corner just because it's way too tedious to try to like block those out with an actual ruler. It's just way too much trouble for not much payoff. And again, like, this is for me. I'm happy with it. It serves its purpose. So, yeah, I think I will probably call it there tonight. Again, I want to go into this back section, decide what I'm going to say about my rating system, start putting in some pages for different books that I'm reading or have read. So let me get, actually, we'll take a couple minutes. Let me get a Post-it note, if I can find one, that's just like a strip, because I know there are here we go. So I know there are definitely some things that I want to make pages for. The one that comes immediately to mind, and I probably want to do a double page on this, would be Emily Wilde, which finished up this year. I really liked that series, so I want to make sure that I have a page for that. And in my last journal, I had a lot more of this kind of page in it. So let me pull it out from back here and I can show you. So this was 2 years ago, maybe. So it's my Tokusatsu journal. This is when I was looking at a lot of the Super Sentai, Kamen Rider, Garo is in here, kind of things. So I had like some like watch things and like what I watched every month, but a lot of my pages were just like this, like, oh, I liked Garo, so like here's my Garo page, this is, you know, these are the dates that I watched it. Here's just a page of just like fun character stuff, and I printed these out, and a lot of this I just printed out and cut out and pasted on there. This was for Garo, the different monsters every week. But I'm thinking about doing something like this for some of the book series that I really like. So this was kind of a modified scale of different elements that I wanted to rate. So lore, plot, overall enjoyment, relationships, effects. Of course, I'm going to have to modify this again because effects doesn't really matter for books. But yeah, just like things like this. Pages with just like, I thought Trigger was cool, so here's some stuff of the characters I liked. Here's Kamen Rider 01. I liked that series. That was cool. And then, of course, I didn't quite keep up with this the way that I'm keeping up with my reading journal, but this was my Kaiju number 8 spread. So I'm happy with, I had little profiles for the main characters. And then, yeah, like I said, that kind of just petered out. I did stuff for 2023. This is where I came up with this kind of curved thing. This was for every month. And then wish list to watch. This is just like, what did I read in books that year? But yeah, I want to do more of like this for my reading, of just like, these are characters I like, and here's some art that I enjoy. Get some stickers, maybe do some reviews like this. And one of those that I definitely want to do is Emily Wilde. I know another show or property that I want to put in here, which would be K-pop Demon Hunters. Really like K-pop Demon Hunters. And now, of course, in my classic fashion, here it is. I have put down something, and I know it's in this area, but I don't know quite where. So we'll put a K-pop Demon Hunters one in here. I know there are some stickers for K-pop Demon Hunters, and I'd want to do like this would be another one that I think I'd take 2 pages on, because I'd want to do like rating all the music. I'm trying to think, like, what are some other good, maybe look at my Goodreads. What are some other good series that like I really want to highlight? Could do Bone Orchard Mythos, Destroy All Humans. I like that one quite a bit. I could do some like Magic the Gathering stuff with that as well. Gotta reload it or else it's not gonna load more stuff. Oh yeah, definitely Locked Tomb series. I like that one quite a bit. So, and I know there's lots of stickers for that one as well. So we'll put a placeholder in here for Locked Tomb. I also just don't want to finish up this year and use like just the front 20 pages of this journal. This journal is huge. I've got a lot of space that I could be doing different things with. I reread through Kaiju number 8. I could do a Kaiju number 8 spread. But I have that, and I have that manga one, right? So I don't know about that. I might do one for Dungeon Crawler Carl if I read more this year. Transformers is a big one. The Something is Killing the Children universe was a good one. I will have read 2 of the Guardians of Dawn. I don't know if I'd do a whole page on those, but I'd do 1 page. Yeah, maybe Guardians of Dawn. Would be a page. else is in here? And then I've got all these like just like corporate stickers. Like, I don't know how else to put it. I've got like different like Loot Crate stuff, and yeah, I could just put those together possibly. I've got one for Severin. Just different publishers. And a lot of these I already have like some thing for elsewhere in the book, right? So like I'm already doing stuff with the manga. I'm already doing stuff with so we're gonna make sure that that's like one page. Say this one could be like publisher, and then I think Destroy All Humans would be a fun one to do. I don't know what I'd do for it. There's a lot of Magic the Gathering stuff in it, so Cat Gamer was a lot of fun, but I don't know what I would do with a spread for Cat Gamer. It's just adorable cats. Witch Hat Atelier. I have Witch Hat Atelier stuff, and I can definitely talk about that for sure. I've already got stickers for it, so that's another one that's a definite include. All right. Another one that would be kind of fun would be I could do one for my literary criticism books. That'd be good. I think that's a good list. Fills out a number of other pages. Again, have to think about what do I actually want to do with these different parts. And I need to come up with my rating system. Like, I kind of have an idea of what I like for, 3s, 2s, 1s, all that stuff. But I just need to put it down here and come up with like a nice framing for it. Alrighty. But I do believe that's where I will call it for today. So we got a nice spread finished up. I got August all ready to go. Oh, I should write August. I don't know why I wait so long to do this part. So just up here, I kind of just freehand. So yeah, now that's all ready to go. When we hit August in a few days, I will have that finished. Then we got September, October, November, December. It's ready to go right there. There'll be all the other stuff that hopefully I put pages in for. So, well, as always, I appreciate you coming by and hanging out while I do my journaling stuff. I hope your reading journey is going well. If you journal, I hope that you are having fun with it. Remember that it's just for you. It doesn't, you don't have to show anybody, so you don't have to impress anyone. Have fun with it, and embrace mistakes. Embrace, it not being perfect every time. Like if you liked the video, subscribe if you want to see more. Come hang out with us on the weekends. We usually do reading sprints. Every week I talk about the books that I read that week. I should have some extra videos coming out soon on like books to read if you enjoyed One Piece is one that I worked on recently. And then I have an unboxing for the latest Fairy Loot book, Fairy Loot box. So, thanks once again for coming by, and until the next one, take care.